I'm 89 years old, and what I'm about to tell you about marriage will make you uncomfortable. You don't fall out of love all at once. That's the first thing people get wrong. It doesn't come with a loud crash or a dramatic ending. If it did, maybe more people would notice it in time. No, it happens quietly. So quietly, you can live inside it for years and not even realize what you're losing until it's already gone. I was married for 58 years. His name was Daniel, and if you saw us from the outside, you would have said we did everything right. We stayed married. We raised our children. We showed up to life together. No scandal, no chaos, nothing that would make people whisper about us. We were stable. And for a long time, I believed stability was the same thing as love. When I was 22, I married him. I remember that day clearly. The dress, the noise, the people smiling like they knew something about our future that we didn't. Daniel stood there, calm as always, not nervous, not fidgeting, just steady. And I remember thinking, this is the kind of man you build a life with. Not exciting, not overly expressive, but reliable. And at 22, that felt like the safest choice. The first year felt like learning how to live with a stranger, because that's what marriage really is in the beginning. Two people trying to understand habits they've never seen before. He woke up early, even on weekends. I liked to sleep in. He liked quiet mornings. I liked music. Small things. But those small things, they matter more than you think. I remember the first time I felt something was off. It wasn't a big moment. I was laughing, telling him a story about something that happened during the day, and I noticed he wasn't really listening. He nodded, smiled a little, but his eyes weren't there. It felt like I was talking to someone who had already left the room. I brushed it off, told myself he was just tired. But moments like that, they don't disappear. They settle. They stack. By the third year, the differences became harder to ignore. Not loud, not explosive, just present. I wanted connection. He wanted peace. I wanted to talk things through. He preferred to move on quickly. I wanted to understand everything. He didn't see the need to explain. And I remember one argument. I don't even remember what it was about, but I remember how it felt. I raised my voice, and he didn't raise his. He didn't argue back. He just went quiet. And that silence, it felt louder than anything he could have said. That was the moment I started learning something I didn't understand back then. Silence can win an argument, but it can lose a relationship. So I adjusted. I told myself not to push too much, not to make things harder than they needed to be. I started choosing peace over truth, and peace became our pattern. Not real peace, just the absence of conflict. Years went by. We had children, and children fill your life in a way that leaves little room for anything else. There's always something to do, something to fix, something to focus on. And when your life is full like that, it becomes very easy to ignore what's empty. We became a team, not lovers, Not even really friends, just a team. Handling life, solving problems, getting things done. There's a kind of marriage people don't talk about. It doesn't look broken, it doesn't look unhappy, but it also doesn't feel alive. That's where we were. By the time I turned 35, I realized something quietly terrifying. I didn't know how to reach my own husband, not really. I knew his habits, I knew his schedule, I knew what he liked to eat, what time he liked to sleep, what annoyed him. But I didn't know what he felt. And if I'm being honest, he didn't know me either. I had dreams I never shared, fears I never explained, thoughts that stayed locked inside me because I didn't believe he would understand them. Or maybe I was afraid he wouldn't care. And once you start believing that, you stop trying. There was a period in my 40s where I started questioning everything. Not out loud, not dramatically, just quietly in my own thoughts. I would sit alone sometimes and imagine a different life, one where I felt seen, heard, understood. And then I would feel guilty for even thinking that way, because Daniel hadn't done anything wrong. He wasn't cruel, he wasn't unfaithful, he was just distant. And that's a difficult thing to explain to anyone, because from the outside we looked fine. That's the dangerous kind of marriage, the one that looks fine, because nobody checks on you, nobody asks questions, and you don't even know how to ask for help. So I stayed, not just physically, but emotionally. I stayed in a version of love that never really grew. And then one evening, something small happened. I was sitting next to him and I asked, "Do you ever think about us?" He looked at me, confused, like I had asked him something strange. "What do you mean?" he said. And I didn't even know how to answer him, because in that moment I realized something I hadn't fully accepted before. We weren't living the same marriage. I was inside it, feeling everything, noticing everything, questioning everything. And he was inside it, just existing. Or at least that's what I believed at the time. But years later, I came to understand something that changed how I saw everything. He probably felt the same way about me, because I never showed him what I was feeling. Not really. I expected him to notice, to understand without explanation, to fix what I never expressed. And that is one of the biggest mistakes you can make in marriage. People cannot meet needs they don't know exist. Time passed. We aged. Life softened us in some ways and hardened us in others. And then he got sick. Everything slowed down. The distractions faded. The noise of life became quieter. And suddenly, it was just us again, sitting together, not as parents, not as problem solvers, just two people. I started asking questions then, real questions, the kind I had been too afraid to ask before. One day I asked him, "What were you afraid of all those years?" He didn't answer immediately. He just looked at me, thinking, like he always did. And then he said, "I didn't know how to be what you needed." That stayed with me, because I had spent years believing he didn't care. But the truth was, he didn't know how. And I had spent years waiting for him to change without ever truly showing him what I needed. Two people, loving each other in the only ways they knew how, and still missing each other completely. That's the part that hurts the most. Not that we didn't love each other, but that we didn't know how to show it in a way the other could feel. When he passed, I held his hand, and for the first time in a very long time, I felt close to him, truly close. And I remember thinking, why did it take this long? Why did we wait until the end, to be honest? So listen to me, because this is the truth I learned after almost 6 decades. Love doesn't die because of hate. It dies because of silence. If something feels off in your marriage, don't ignore it. Don't bury it. Don't wait for the right time, because there is no perfect moment to say what matters. Speak, even if your voice shakes, even if you don't have the right words, even if it feels uncomfortable, because silence will slowly take everything from you without you even noticing. I had 58 years with Daniel, and if I could go back, I wouldn't change the man I married. I would change how I showed up. I would ask more. I would say more. I would risk more. I would choose connection over comfort every single time. Because in the end, it's not about how long you stayed married. It's about how deeply you knew each other while you still had the chance. If this story spoke to you in any way, I'd really like to hear from you. Have you ever felt this kind of silence in a relationship? Or maybe learned something the hard way like I did? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might help someone else who is going through the same thing right now. And if you believe more people need to hear messages like this, go ahead and like the video. It helps it reach others who might need it. Don't forget to subscribe as well. I Learn from My Mistakes channel shares real stories like this. Honest, sometimes uncomfortable, but always meaningful. Take care of your relationships while you still have the time.